The Galactic Federation scout vessel Eternal Light slipped into Earth's orbit silently, its advanced cloaking system hiding it from human detection. Captain Ta stood at the command center, her slender form bathed in the blue glow of holographic displays, showing various angles of the planet below. "I expected more," Captain Ta said, brushing her dark hair from her face. She zoomed in on a human settlement. "These creatures look so fragile." Science Officer Hyun approached with his data tablet, excitement evident in his quick steps. "Captain, I've completed the preliminary biological assessment. These humans are most curious. They lack almost all natural defenses we consider standard for intelligent species." Security Chief Jun grunted from his station. "No claws, no armor, weak muscles. How did they survive evolution?" "Their teeth suggest plant-eating ancestors," Hyun continued, displaying anatomical scans. "Yet their digestive system shows adaptation for meat consumption." Odd contradiction. The three officers had worked together for 15 Federation cycles, exploring and cataloging new worlds for potential inclusion in the galactic community. Earth had been on their list for some time, but only now had humans developed enough technology to warrant closer inspection. "Look at their cities," Jun said, pointing to the sprawling lights visible on the night side of the planet. "Primitive, yes, but they've mastered basic electricity and simple machines." Captain Ta nodded. "The Council will likely classify them as Category 3, developing species suitable for limited contact and possible labor contracts." Most species at this development stage were grateful for Federation protection and technology, happily accepting subordinate roles in exchange for advancement. The Vazrak had found many such species useful in their mining operations. Hyun's sudden gasp drew their attention. The science officer stared at his screen, his face pale. "Captain, I've accessed their information networks. You need to see this." He transferred the data to the main display. Images flashed before them. Humans fighting, killing, destroying. Battle scenes from different time periods played in sequence. "What are we seeing?" Tai asked, her voice tight. "Their history," Hyun replied. "It's filled with conflict, continuous warfare, spanning thousands of their years." "This can't be right," Jun said, leaning forward. "Species this physically weak shouldn't engage in direct combat. It's not logical." Tai studied the images carefully. "Perhaps these are ritualized competitions. Many species have combat ceremonies to determine social hierarchy." Hyun shook his head. "The scale is too large. These appear to be genuine conflicts involving millions of individuals." "I want direct observation," Tai decided. "We need to see these humans in person." 3 Earth days later, the three officers stood in an invisible observation bubble above a large building in Seoul. They wore humanoid projection fields that would make them appear as ordinary humans should anyone notice them, though their technology ensured no one would. Inside the building, humans gathered around a raised platform where 2 individuals faced each other. Both wore white clothing with colored belts. "Some kind of ritual combat, as you suggested," Jun said to the captain. The match began. The humans moved with unexpected speed and precision. Their blows connected with audible impact. They jumped, spun, and struck with calculated violence. "Those are trained fighting techniques," Jun whispered, professional assessment in his voice. "Look at the precision in their movements. These are not random acts of aggression." Another match started, this one more intense. A human male executed a spinning kick that connected with his opponent's head, sending him crashing to the floor. "Their bodies are so fragile," Hyun said, checking his readings. "That impact could have caused serious damage. Yet they do this willingly." The defeated human rose, bowed to his opponent, and left the area. Another pair took their place, and the combat continued. "Their social patterns don't match their biology," Ta murmured. "They have the bodies of prey animals but the behaviors of predators." The observation continued for hours. They watched children, small humans, practicing similar movements in another area. Even the youngest were learning combat. A civilization that trains all its members for fighting, Jun said. I've never seen anything like it. As night fell, they returned to their ship to compile their findings. The command center was quiet as Hyun displayed more information gathered from Earth's networks. They call these activities martial arts, he explained. Fighting techniques developed over centuries. But there's more. New images appeared, humans with small metal devices. A loud noise, and targets exploded at a distance. Ranged weapons, Jun said, his voice now concerned. Projectile technology. More displays showed larger weapons, vehicles designed for combat, flying machines dropping destructive devices. They've developed their entire civilization alongside warfare technology, Ta said. Every advancement seems tied to combat application. Hyun brought up biological data. They appear physically weak, but their endurance is remarkable. They can sustain injury and continue fighting. Their healing rate exceeds most known species. And their psychology? Tai asked. Complex. They form strong social bonds, yet regularly engage in conflict with other groups. They demonstrate extreme cooperation within groups and extreme competition between groups. Jun's security training took over. Captain, I recommend we classify humans as potentially dangerous. Their combat focus suggests they might not accept subordinate status in the Federation. Captain Ta stared at the blue planet turning slowly on the main display. What had seemed like a routine mission now felt different. These humans, these soft, clawless creatures, had developed their entire society around overcoming their physical limitations through technology and technique. Agreed, she said finally. We'll report to the Council that humans require further study before contact. They appear harmless physically, but their behavior patterns suggest otherwise. As the Eternal Light prepared to leave Earth's orbit, the three officers watched the final images from the planet's surface. Children playing the game involving a ball, laughing and running in the sunlight. So innocent-looking, Hyun observed. Yes, Captain Tae replied, but remember what we've seen. These humans may appear weak, but they've turned their entire existence into overcoming weakness, and that makes them unpredictable. And unpredictable species, Jun added quietly, are always the most dangerous. Supreme Commander Mok's armored body made clicking sounds as he walked across the polished floor of the Federation Council chamber. His 8 legs moved in perfect harmony, and his outer shell gleamed under the bright lights. Representatives from 57 galactic species watched him from their seats arranged in a wide circle. These humans pose no threat to us, Mok declared, his translator converting his clicking language into standard galactic speech. I have reviewed the reports from the observation team. Humans are soft creatures with no natural armor. Their reproduction rate is slow. Their technology is simple. They are barely past basic space travel. Ambassador Sung of the Tellurian Alliance rose from her seat. Unlike the insect-like Vazrak, the Tellurians resembled tall, slender trees that could move. Sung's bark-like skin had patterns showing her high rank. I disagree, she said in a soft, musical voice. The observation reports also show that humans adapt quickly to new situations. This quality makes them unpredictable. We should be careful. The debate continued for hours. Some council members sided with Mok, seeing humans as primitive beings who could serve the more advanced species. Others agreed with Sung, worried about the humans' unusual history of conflict. The argument might have lasted for days, but urgent news interrupted them. A border dispute between the Rigelian Empire and the Arcturan Confederation had turned violent. Several ships had been destroyed. Both sides threatened full-scale war. We must resolve this immediately, said High Counselor Jun, the eldest member of the Federation leadership. We need neutral ground for peace talks. After much discussion, they selected Earth. The planet was far from both Rigelian and Arcturan space. Humans had no connections to either side. Their isolation made them perfect hosts. 3 weeks later, delegates from across the galaxy arrived in a city called Geneva. The human authorities provided a large building near a lake for the meetings. They had been told these were trade representatives, not knowing the true importance of their visitors. Director Kim of the Earth Diplomatic Corps greeted the alien delegates. She was a small woman with short black hair and calm eyes. Despite having never seen non-human intelligent life before, she showed no fear. "Welcome to Earth," she said through the translator devices provided by the Federation. "We have prepared comfortable accommodations for each of your species' needs." The Vazrik delegation, led by Commander Hack, watched the humans with obvious contempt. His mandibles clicked quietly as he spoke to his aides. "Look how fragile they are. One strike from my limb would crush their bones." The peace talks began the next morning. The dispute seemed impossible to solve. The Rigelians demanded mining rights to 3 moons that the Arcturans claimed as sacred sites. Both sides refused to compromise. To everyone's surprise, Director Kim listened carefully and then offered a suggestion. Perhaps the Rigelians could mine the moons during certain seasons, leaving them untouched during Arcturan religious periods. We humans have similar arrangements for shared spaces on Earth. The simple solution impressed the delegates. More surprising ideas followed. By the second day, the humans had earned unexpected respect from most visitors. Only the Vazrek seemed unhappy with the human success. Commander Hack's irritation grew with each human contribution. "These primitives should not be guiding us," he muttered to his staff. On the third day, as delegates gathered for morning meetings, the doors burst open. 6 Vazrek soldiers rushed in, weapons raised. They wore the red markings of a radical faction that believed in Vazrek superiority over all species. "The Federation has grown weak, accepting lesser beings as equals," shouted their leader. "This ends today." The attack happened so fast that most delegates could only freeze in fear. The Vazrek soldiers expected easy targets. What they didn't expect was Officer Lee. Lee was a human security guard, standing near the refreshment table when the attack began. He had no weapon. As the first Vazrek aimed at the Tellurian ambassador, Lee grabbed a metal chair and swung it with surprising force. The chair connected with the Vazrek's head joint, stunning him instantly. Before the others could react, Lee slid under a table, emerged behind 2 more attackers, and used their own momentum to smash them together. Their hard exoskeletons cracked from the impact. Other human security personnel moved with equal efficiency. They didn't fight like the Vazrek expected. They used the environment, improvised weapons, and unexpected movements. Within minutes, the attack was over. 5 of the 6 Vazrek soldiers lay immobilized on the floor. The delegates were safe, protected by beings they had considered primitive. Commander Hack, who had been knocked unconscious early in the fight, regained awareness to find himself secured with restraints. Officer Lee stood nearby, watching him carefully. "How?" Hack demanded, mandibles clicking in confusion. "You have no natural weapons. No claws, no armor. How did you defeat armed Vazrek warriors?" Lee's face showed no pride, only a grim acceptance. "We've been fighting each other for thousands of years," he said simply. "We had to become good at it to survive. When you have no natural weapons, you learn to use your mind instead." That evening, the Federation Council received urgent messages from Earth. The reports described the attack and the unexpected human response. Video recordings showed the lightning-fast reactions of the human security team. Ambassador Sung addressed the silent chamber. "As I said before, humans are adaptable. Today we learned what that truly means. They turn weakness into strength. They overcome physical limitations with strategy and skill." Supreme Commander Mach watched the recordings again, his compound eyes reflecting the images of human defenders moving with deadly precision. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "we should reconsider our assessment of Earth." Supreme Commander Mach stood before the Federation Assembly with his head held high despite the shame burning through his body. The failed attack on the peace conference had embarrassed the entire Vazrek Empire. Their warriors, considered among the finest in the galaxy, had been defeated by unarmed humans. "We invoke the right of assessment," Mach announced, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. Murmurs spread among the gathered representatives. The right of assessment was an ancient protocol, rarely used in modern times. It allowed an established Federation power to challenge a potential member species to a series of tests before accepting them. The humans must prove their worth, Mock continued. 3 challenges will determine if they deserve a place among the stars. The Federation Council had little choice but to agree. The humans were informed of this development through emergency channels. Within hours, a human delegation arrived at the Federation headquarters on the neutral planet Centauri Prime. General Park led the human team. She was tall for a human, with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. When the challenges were explained, she simply nodded. "We accept," she said, her voice calm and steady. "Name the terms." The first challenge would test physical endurance. 1 human would be taken to Callus, a desert moon with scorching days and freezing nights. There, they would compete against a Vazrik warrior to see who could survive longer without supplies. Captain Jin volunteered immediately. He was a slender man with weather-beaten skin who had served in Earth's special forces. "I grew up in a desert region," he explained to General Park. "I know how to survive in such conditions." The Vazrik chose their champion as well. Commander Rack, a veteran of many campaigns on harsh worlds. His thick exoskeleton could seal moisture within his body for weeks. Both competitors were transported to Callus and left in separate locations with only the clothes on their backs. Federation observers monitored them from orbit. The Vazrik warrior moved little during the hot days, conserving energy and moisture. His biology was perfectly suited for the environment. Meanwhile, Jin seemed to struggle immediately, sweating heavily under the twin suns. "The human will fail within days," Mock predicted confidently. But Jin surprised everyone. When night fell, he became active, moving across the landscape. He dug into the sand, creating shelter from the day's heat. He collected morning dew on pieces of his clothing. When that wasn't enough, he processed his own bodily fluids to reclaim moisture. Days passed, then weeks. The Vazrik champion began to slow down, his stored water depleting. On the 35th day, Commander Rack collapsed, unable to continue. Jin was found still mobile, severely dehydrated but conscious. "How?" demanded Supreme Commander Mock as Jin was treated in the medical bay. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters," Jin explained weakly. "Before we had weapons, we chased animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We can't run as fast as many creatures, but we can run longer." For the second challenge, the Vazrik chose a strength competition on Torax, a planet with gravity 2.3 times that of Earth. The task: move massive stone blocks to construct a small pyramid. The Vazrik selected warrior Beck, known for his exceptional strength. The humans sent Dr. Da, a small woman who specialized in physics. As the challenge began, Beck easily lifted the first stone block and carried it to the building site. His powerful exoskeleton strained but held under the increased gravity. Dr. Day couldn't even budge her first block. The observers chuckled at the obvious mismatch. But then she disappeared into the nearby forest. When she returned, she carried long branches and vines. While Beck continued to carry blocks one by one, Dai constructed a simple lever system. Using rocks as fulcrums, she moved her blocks with minimal physical effort. As Beck grew tired, she maintained a steady pace. By the end of the day, both had completed their pyramids. The Vazrik warrior collapsed from exhaustion while Dai appeared merely winded. "You cheated," Beck accused between heavy breaths. "The challenge was to move the blocks," Day replied. "No one said how they must be moved." The third and final challenge would be combat. Each species would select a champion to face 3 of the Federation's finest warriors in succession. The humans chose Major Sun, a compact man with a calm demeanor. The Vazrak were confused by this choice. Sun was neither the tallest nor the most muscular human available. The first opponent was a massive reptilian creature with armored scales and razor claws. As the match began, Sun made no aggressive moves. He simply observed his opponent, dodging attacks with precise movements. When the reptilian charged, Sun sidestepped and used the creature's momentum to send it crashing into a wall. 3 such maneuvers later, the exhausted opponent surrendered. The second challenger was a 4-armed warrior from the methane swamps of Rigel. Again, Sun focused on defense, studying his opponent's movements. He noticed the warrior favored his upper right arm and exploited this weakness to secure a quick victory. The final opponent was a Vazrik elite guard. Sun faced this challenge differently, taking the initiative with a series of quick strikes targeting joint connections in the Vazrik's exoskeleton. Within minutes, the Vazrik champion was immobilized. After the final match, the Federation Council convened to discuss the results. Xenobiologist Woon presented his analysis to the stunned assembly. "We have misunderstood humans from the beginning," he explained, displaying biological scans. "They appear weak individually, but their strength comes from adaptation and endurance. Their ancestors were persistent predators who chased prey for hours or days until it collapsed from exhaustion." Woon showed footage of Captain Jin trudging across the desert of Kalas, his lips cracked and body dehydrated, yet still moving forward. "They can't outfight most species in the galaxy, but they simply refuse to stop. Their bodies can endure remarkable stress and still function. Their minds stay clear under conditions that would break other species." Supreme Commander Mach watched silently as more images appeared. Humans recovering from injuries that would kill most creatures, adapting to environments that should be fatal. "They are unpredictable," he finally said, his voice low and troubled. "They don't follow the patterns we expect, and that makes them dangerous." The Federation Council voted unanimously to recognize humanity as worthy of contact. Whether as allies or potential threats, humans could no longer be ignored. General Park received the news with a simple nod. "We never wanted to prove our combat capability," she said. "We only wanted to show that we deserve respect." The message was received clearly across the galaxy. These soft, seemingly fragile beings from Earth were not to be underestimated. The first attack came at dawn. Massive Vazrik warships appeared suddenly in Earth's atmosphere, their hulls gleaming like black shells in the morning sunlight. Without warning or declaration, they opened fire on major cities below. New York disappeared in a flash of light. Tokyo followed minutes later. Then Beijing, London, and Moscow. The orbital bombardment continued for 6 hours, methodically targeting population centers around the globe. In the Vazrik command ship, Supreme Commander Mach watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. The Council had refused to see the danger these humans posed. Their strange adaptability, their unpredictable tactics. These soft creatures would eventually threaten Vazrik dominance in the Federation. Better to eliminate the problem now. "Send the message to all surviving human territories," Mach ordered. Across all broadcast channels, the Vazrik ultimatum played. "Your species has been deemed a destabilizing force in the galactic order. Surrender immediately and accept Vazrik authority. Resistance will result in complete planetary sterilization." They expected immediate capitulation. The humans had lost their major cities and military bases in the first strike. Their primitive weapons could not touch the Vazrik ships. Any logical species would recognize the futility of resistance. But 6 hours after the ultimatum, no surrender came. "Begin ground operations," Mach commanded. "Show them the futility of defiance." Landing craft descended to Earth by the thousands. Vazrik troops, encased in battle armor that made them even more formidable, established bases in strategic locations. They expected to find broken, cowering humans. Instead, they found emptiness. The survivors had vanished. For 2 weeks, the occupation proceeded according to plan. Then the first outpost went silent. 10 Vazrik soldiers stationed near a destroyed city called Denver simply stopped reporting. When an investigation team arrived, they found the outpost intact but empty. No signs of battle. No bodies. Just equipment left behind and strange markings carved into the walls. 3 days later, it happened again. Then again. Commander Q, tasked with securing a region called Europe, watched his tactical display with growing alarm as another signal disappeared. "What is happening?" he demanded of his intelligence officer. "The humans aren't engaging us directly," the officer replied. "They strike small outposts at night, avoid our patrols, target our supply lines. This is not conventional warfare. This is not warfare at all." Q screamed, slamming his armored limb against the display. "They don't fight properly. They are cowards." 3 months into the occupation, the Vazrik forces faced an unexpected reality. They were losing, not through decisive battles or heroic stands, but through 1,000 small cuts. Human resistance fighters melted away before they could be engaged, only to reappear where least expected. Colonel Min's elite division was assigned to a misty region called the Scottish Highlands. The terrain was difficult, with steep hills and valleys often shrouded in fog. His troops began disappearing one by one. "They come from nowhere," reported a shaken survivor. "Humans wearing patterns that match the landscape. We don't see them until they're already among us." Min doubled patrols and installed sensor arrays. It made no difference. The humans simply adapted their tactics. They used the mist for cover, moved at night, and somehow evaded the most sophisticated detection equipment. In desert regions, Vazrik troops faced different challenges. Their water supplies mysteriously failed. Vehicles broke down. Soldiers died of thirst, while local humans somehow survived in the harsh conditions. Commander Beck, stationed in a tropical area called the Amazon, lost half his force to strange illnesses that the humans seemed immune to. Their exoskeletons, normally an advantage, trapped heat in the humid environment and bred fungi that ate through their armor. "They're using the planet itself against us," Beck reported before his base went silent. Most alarming to the Vazrik command was how quickly humans adapted their technology. Captured weapons were quickly reverse-engineered. Within weeks, human fighters were using modified Vazrik energy weapons against their creators. In orbit, Federation observation ships watched the conflict with growing concern. The Vazrik invasion had never been authorized by the Council. What had begun as Supreme Commander Mok's preemptive strike was quickly becoming a potential galactic crisis. Science Officer Hyun, who had first studied humans years earlier, prepared a classified report for the Council. "We have gravely underestimated human adaptability," he wrote. "They learn exponentially faster under threat. Their history of internal conflict has prepared them for this moment in ways we never anticipated. They are not fighting to win in traditional terms. They are fighting to survive, and that makes them infinitely more dangerous." He included footage of a small human resistance cell dismantling Vazrak technology. What should take decades to understand, they master in weeks. Their pattern recognition abilities exceed our projections by orders of magnitude. The report ended with a stark warning. If this conflict continues, the humans will not only repel the Vazrak, they will emerge with advanced technology and a burning desire for retribution. The Vazrak have awakened something terrible, and the entire Federation may pay the price. 6 months into the invasion, Supreme Commander Mok faced reality in his orbiting command center. Half his invasion force was gone. Supply lines were constantly disrupted. Human attacks grew more sophisticated each week. "We must increase the orbital bombardment," he ordered. "Sterilize larger areas. Force them into the open." His tactical officer hesitated. "Commander, we've detected unusual energy signatures from the surface. The humans appear to have activated several of our downed ships' propulsion systems. They're making something." Before Mok could respond, alarms blared throughout the command ship. On the tactical display, dozens of small craft rose from Earth's surface. They were crude hybrids of human and Vazrak technology, but their weapons were functioning perfectly. "Impossible," Mok whispered. "They couldn't have mastered our systems so quickly." The human counterattack began as the Federation Council convened an emergency session. The question was no longer how to help the Vazrak win. It was how to prevent humans from taking their newfound knowledge and justified rage to the stars. In a hardened bunker beneath the ruins of what had once been Seoul, General Park studied the battlefield display with grim satisfaction. Around her, technicians operated salvaged alien equipment now modified for human use. The Vazrak thought our physical weakness made us easy targets, she told her officers. They'd never understood that we've spent our entire history overcoming our limitations. We turned our greatest weakness into our greatest strength. We adapt. We survive. She looked at the latest intelligence reports showing Vazrak forces in disarray worldwide. And now they'll learn what happens when humans stop running and start hunting. The last Vazrak warship lifted from Earth's atmosphere with engines screaming in protest. Makeshift human weapons had damaged its main drive systems. The ship limped away, trailing smoke and debris as it fled toward the safety of deep space. On the ground, crowds gathered in the ruins of what had once been cities. They watched the enemy retreat with tired eyes. Victory had come at a terrible cost. Millions of humans had died in the year-long invasion. Great cities lay in rubble. Farmlands were scorched, but Earth remained free. General Park stood on a crumbling rooftop in Seoul, watching the ship disappear into the clouds. Her uniform was tattered, her face lined with exhaustion and new scars. "Send the message to all resistance cells," she said to her aide. "It's over." Across the world, the news spread. The Vazrak, the mighty insect-like warriors who had seemed invincible a year ago, had been defeated. Not by superior weapons or technology, but by human determination and adaptability. 3 months later, a small human ship approached the Federation Council headquarters on Centauri Prime. The vessel was a strange hybrid of Earth and Vazrak technology, cobbled together from captured components, but now refined into something new and efficient. Inside the Great Council chamber, representatives from 57 galactic species waited nervously. Many had secretly supported the Vazrak invasion, believing humans too dangerous to join galactic society. Others had argued for intervention but had acted too slowly. All wondered what revenge the humans might now seek. The chamber doors opened. Ambassador Gill entered alone. She was a small woman with silver hair and dark eyes that had seen too much death. She walked steadily to the center of the chamber, her simple black uniform bearing no weapons or decorations. The room fell completely silent. "I speak for Earth," she said, her voice clear and strong in the vast space. "We have prevailed against an unprovoked attack by the Vazrak Empire. We have suffered greatly. We have learned much." She paused, looking around at the assembled aliens. "We come seeking neither revenge nor conquest," she continued calmly. "We come seeking understanding and alliance. But know this, we will never again be underestimated." The council deliberated for 7 days. Reports from scientific observers during the Earth conflict were reviewed. Videos showing humans adapting Vazrak technology, surviving in impossible conditions, and developing innovative tactics were studied carefully. Finally, High Counselor Jun announced their decision. The Federation would formally recognize Earth as a member world. The humans would be classified under a new category, Apex Adapters. This designation acknowledged that while humans lacked the natural advantages of many species, their ability to adapt made them uniquely formidable. Supreme Commander Mach and his War Council were arrested for launching an unauthorized attack on a potential Federation member. The Vazrak Empire was ordered to pay substantial reparations to Earth for the destruction caused. "Your actions have cost both our peoples dearly," Ambassador Gill told Mach at his trial. "But we are prepared to move forward if you are." The commander could not meet her eyes. 5 years passed. Earth rebuilt with the help of Federation technology. Human diplomats spread throughout the galaxy, often mediating disputes between older, more established species. Human engineers tackled problems that had stumped others for centuries. The very qualities that had made humans dangerous in war, creativity, adaptability, persistence, made them valuable in peace. Captain Han of the Earth Peacekeeping Force arrived at the mining colony on Rigel 4 with a small team. The colony faced an environmental disaster. Toxic chemicals had leaked into the planet's water system, threatening both the miners and the delicate local ecosystem. "We're doomed," said the colony administrator, a tall crystalline being. "The contamination spreads too quickly for containment." Han surveyed the situation. "We've faced similar problems on Earth after the war. Let me show you something." His team worked tirelessly, adapting Federation technology to create a new filtration system. They engineered special bacteria, similar to those used to clean up pollution on Earth, to break down the toxic compounds. A young Vazric engineer named Lick watched the humans work. He had been a child during the Earth War, raised on stories of human savagery. Yet here they were, helping save a colony that included Vazric miners. "I don't understand," Lick said to Elder Sook, who supervised the Vazric mining team. "We tried to destroy them. Why do they help us now?" Elder Sook had fought on Earth. He still carried scars from that terrible campaign. He watched the humans improvising solutions with a mixture of respect and lingering fear. "Because that is perhaps the most surprising thing about humans," Sook replied, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "They can be as merciful as they are deadly. They can forgive what we cannot forget." 10 years after the invasion, Earth had become a central member of the Federation. Human peacekeepers served on troubled worlds. Human scientists contributed breakthrough technologies. Human diplomats helped resolve ancient conflicts. In the Federation Academy on Centauri Prime, students from 100 worlds studied human history. They learned how these soft, clawless creatures had survived on a dangerous planet, how they had turned their weaknesses into strengths, how they had defeated the mighty Vazrek not through superior strength, but through superior adaptability. Ambassador Gill, now serving as Earth's representative on the High Council, addressed a group of young diplomats from across the galaxy. "The lesson of humanity is simple," she told them. "Never judge a species by their apparent limitations. Judge them by how they overcome those limitations." As she spoke, a Federation ship carrying human medical personnel raced toward a Vazrek colony world suffering from a devastating plague. The same ingenuity that had once turned Vazrek weapons against their makers now worked to save Vazrek lives. "And that," Elder Sook told Yumlik as they watched humans save their people, "is why we will never truly understand them. And why we should be grateful they choose to be our allies rather than our enemies."